Sponsorships play a huge role in sports, be it football, cricket, or cycling. But what you might not know right now is that cycling is one activity that is known to have some of the world's most controversial sponsors involved in the game. But what is this connection? And who are these controversial sponsors? Let's bike together on this rocky journey of problematic and often controversial sponsors in cycling, starting with Amor and Vita. Now sure, what we would usually expect from sports of any kind is for them to be sponsored by footwear, sportswear, or healthy food brand. But who would have made a connection between cycling and politics? A pro-life, anti-abortion organization sponsored by the Vatican is a strange political ally for cyclists to have. It's always encouraging to get a divine blessing. And maybe that's what propelled the Amor and Vita team to many stage victories in the Giro d'Italia in the 1990s. Between 1990 and 1991, they won the Italian Tour 5 times and 2 stages of the Volta in España in 1994. The squad has been stuck in the UCI Continental Division for years. Star sprinter Mattia Gavazzi was kicked from the team in 2010 for cocaine use, and ever since then, they've been missing his angelic presence. Next, Androni Giocattoli. The unusual partnership of sponsors is as memorable as one of the most formidable team names. Serramenti sells a lot of PVC windows, while Giocattoli caters to infants and toddlers. Together, they made for a competitive Italian racing squad. Who in their insane minds would have been able to come up with a combination like that? It makes zero sense, but that's all the controversy. Sometimes some things make little sense, and you've got to roll with it. We've even seen footage of Michele Scarponi giving Philippe Gilbert a run for his money on the Lombardy Tour. And we think Serramenti may have been the inspiration for coping with the horrible weather in the clip. All in all, regardless of how controversial it might seem, bicyclists can benefit from PVC protection. Moving on, next hash. Now, this one's fairly recent. Following experiences as MTM, Dimension Data, and Quebeca, Doug Ryder's African World Tour squad ultimately competed as Team Quebec and NextHash. Financial difficulties continued for the team even after they signed a 5-year naming rights arrangement only days before last year's Tour de France. The development squad will compete at the UCI Continental level beginning in 2022. The question then becomes, who exactly is NextHash? We're still uncertain if we know the answer to that question. NextHash provides a trading platform called the NextEner Exchange, which leverages software developed by another firm, as discovered by investigative writer Ian Troller, for cycling tips. Link is external. Another option is the token, which permits its holders to purchase security tokens under the same circumstances as professional investors and secure the present and future advantages of being among the first to take part, right? Before their sponsorship, NextHash had almost no internet profile, with less than 100 Facebook followers and roughly 500 on Twitter. And the company's previous CEO, Danielle Menzi, dubbed them crooks in answer to an inquiry from a cycling enthusiast. Following up, Alpinson. This one had to be one of the most controversial yet entertaining sponsors in cycling history. Wait till you hear what happened. It sounds like stuff made from fiction tales. So let's start by telling you that Alpinson is a shampoo brand. Alpinson took their sponsorship of a cycling team to an unexpected level with one of their most controversial phrases. To promote its doping for your hair product, a German firm hired the whiter-than-white cyclist Jan Ullrich as a brand representative. And yes, you heard that right. Doping your hair was the chosen market slogan for their brand. So here's the hilarious and quite controversial part. Ullrich ironically got banned for doping the day after pledging his support to the company. Also, his hair had nothing to do with it. Members of the giant Alpinson squad, led by German sprinter Marcel Kittel, had already expressed a wish to clean up cycling from substance abuse and doping issues. So this was coming increasingly into the limelight. Like, can you imagine the coincidence here? Imagine this. You make up a jingle called "Doping for Your Hair," then hire someone to represent your brand, and the same person gets caught with an actual doping case. LOL. What are the chances? Not to forget Donald Trump. Yes, the same infamous president of the United States, known for some of the most shocking statements, was also a cycling sponsor at one point. Who would have thought? In the past, Donald Trump was the most prominent figure in American cycling in time. Back in 1989, cycling gained widespread attention. Greg LeMond and Andy Hampsten, 2 American cyclists, had just won the Tour de France and Giro d'Italia, respectively. Suddenly, the U.S. riders arrived as a serious cycling power in Europe. After the Coors Classic was canceled in 1988, Donald Trump quickly filled the gap with his event, the Tour de Trump. Starting in Albany, New York, and ending in front of Trump Plaza and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Jersey, the first Tour de Trump was a 10-day, 837-mile race across 5 eastern states. Ron Kiefel, who won the Atlantic City leg of the race and whose legendary 7-Eleven team also included the eventual winner, Norwegian runner-up Dag Otto Lauritzen, reflects, "For a first-year race, it was spectacular, but it was about to go down the drain. In 1990, Trump's Atlantic City casinos were on the verge of bankruptcy, so he had to resign as the Tour de Trump's title sponsor despite the event's modest growth. That's hilarious and embarrassing for Mr. Trump. It's easy to dismiss the Tour de Trump as a billionaire vanity project, given that it didn't last beyond its first 7-year run. Next up, Ineos Grenadiers. This is yet another major controversial sponsor for the world of cycling. Honestly, we're just surprised how these people come up with the idea of sponsorships with the most bizarre group of people. The petrochemicals company, Ineos, established by the UK's wealthiest man and a millionaire Brexiteer, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, took a chance on cycling in 2019, becoming the title sponsor of Team Sky in the Tour de Yorkshire. Looks like all the rich folks back then had one aim: to cycle in any way possible. So here's how the controversy began. At the British race, an anti-fracking group protested the sponsor's presence, while in 2020, environmental activists in Belgium pelted team vans with debris. Charity Climate Earth estimated that Ineos, major facility in Grangemouth, Scotland, emitted over 3.2 million tons of carbon dioxide in 2019. So you can understand the outrage by the activists. Grenadier, a 4x4 built by Ineos Automotive, joined the squad in 2020, a year before the Tour de France debuted under its new name. Not to mention Easy Toys. For those of you who know what this brand does, you might be just as shocked as we are. But for the rest, let us brief you on this and controversial brand. The Easy Toys Blows on Friesland Tour was renamed after the company, the market leader in toys in the Netherlands and Belgium. When they gave time trial champion Ellen Van Dijk an X-rated gift set, the internet went into a frenzy. The prize pack included a and of Karma Sutra cards, among other sexy things. The winner is skilled at playing down her accomplishments and soliciting advice from her fans on how to use them, even though no kind statements were made about the competition's planners or main sponsors, Easy Toys. Some said that these gifts were far better than the alternative, which for some races were drying racks and vacuum cleaners for gifts. Van Dijk even joked that the prizes for the women's champions were getting better and better. Next, Amgen. The Amgen Tour of California, which began in 2006 and ended in 2019, was one of our favorite sponsored events. Amgen, the firm that created the first recombinant human erythropoietin product in the 1980s, EPO, or erythropoietin, has been developed to aid in the treatment of people suffering from renal disease. Some could say it's a coincidence that Amgen was the race's main sponsor and became the drug of choice among cyclists to boost their performance. Do you see the irony of this situation here? The event and the company's support didn't start until 2006, when EPO usage was widespread in the peloton. Dozens of cyclists had been banned from this, including one 7-time winner of the Tour de France. Finally, Le Groupement, the French door-to-door sales organization, which relies on 50,000 independent salespeople selling goods to friends and family, has been widely criticized as a pyramid scheme, and this is widely believed to be the root cause of the team's financial problems. Controversy and the negative publicity Le Groupement Européen des Professionnels du Marketing attracted. The sponsor's strategy was defined as motivational sessions and individual investment in the company's retail items by the New York Times in 2019. Even worse, Le Groupement had a 35% drop in sales in 1995 when rumors arose the corporation had ties to a controversial American cult. That's a wrap for this video. Which do you think was the most controversial on our list? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.